Excuse me, sir. Can you please make IUPAC naming of organic compound easy for me?
I'll show you the rules with the help of some examples. I recommend you to sit with a pen and paper.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and do this IUPAC naming together.
Okay.
Let's start with this simple example. So what do we have here? To name this compound, you need to first find the longest continuous carbon chain, which is this 2 carbons here. Now go ahead and number it forward and backward. Now why do we do the backward numbering? We'll discuss that later in the video. As you can see, this compound has 2 carbons. So what is its name going to be? Remember, there's a table. If there's 1 carbon, then the name starts with meth. 2 carbons, the name starts with eth. 3 carbons, it'll start with prop. 4 carbons, bute, and so on. So the name of this compound will start with eth. And what type of bonds are there in this hydrocarbon? So you need to look at the bonds between the carbon atoms. And as you can see, there's only a single bond here. So this hydrocarbon is an alkane. So the name will be ethane. So that is the IUPAC name of this compound. It's ethane. So what did we have to do? Look for the longest continuous carbon chain, number it forward and backwards, and find the name based on it. It was eth. And since there are only single bonds, it's an alkane. So it's going to be ethane. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this example. So let's apply the same rules. We are going to find the longest continuous carbon chain, which are these 3 carbons, and we'll number it forward and backwards. So 3 carbons means the name is going to start with
Prompt.
That's right, prop. And is this a propane? No, because there's a double bond here. So there's a single bond between these 2 carbon atoms, but there's a double bond between these 2 carbon atoms. So it's an alkene. So the name is going to be propene. And if we had a triple bond here instead of a double bond, what will the name be?
Ein.
That's right. It would have been propyne. Okay. So what we learnt here is that you need to look at the longest continuous carbon chain, look at the number of carbon atoms once you've numbered it forward and backward, find the name based on the number of carbon atoms, and also the type of bond for these hydrocarbons. Let's take a look at this example. What will be the IUPAC name of this compound? Again, let's find the longest continuous carbon chain, which is this one, and let's number it forward and backwards. So it's a 5 carbon chain, and we are going to do the forward and backward numbering. So 5 carbon means the name is going to start with
Pent.
pent. Right? And since there are only single bonds between the carbon atoms, this is an alkane. So what is the name? It's going to be
Pentene.
pentane. Right? So this is a simple one. But now let's say the 5 carbon atoms are arranged in a cyclic structure, something like this. And to fill in let's fill in the hydrogens so that carbon has all the 4 bonds satisfied. So 1, 2 and 2 hydrogens. Same way here. So what will be the name of this cyclic compound? So the cyclic compound, the name starts with
Cyclo.
the word cyclo. So remember, it's going to be cyclo, not psycho. And since there are 5 carbon atoms here again, it's going to be
cyclopentene.
cyclopentane. Pent because 5 carbon atoms and only single bonds. So it's a cyclopentane. Now let's take a look at this compound. So this also has 5 carbon atoms, but remember, we need to find the longest continuous carbon chain. So it's going to be this one. You can't go up like this and come down. So let's number the longest continuous carbon chain. And as you can see, there are 4 carbon atoms here. So if we ignore this attachment of CH3 for a moment, what's the name going to be?
It will be bute.
4 carbon means it's going to be bute. And since there are only single bond between the carbon atoms, it's a
Butene.
butane. So that's simple. Now let's look at this CH3. So CH3, as you may know, is an alkyl, because the definition of alkyl is it's an alkane minus 1 hydrogen. So if this had been CH4, but we've removed a hydrogen, so we have CH3. So if it was a CH4, the name would have been methane, 1 carbon atom, right? But this will be now called methyl, right? Because it's an alkyl. And the alkyl name comes in the prefix. So you have to put it over here in the beginning of this name. So we have basically a methyl butane here. But now this methyl could have been here, or it could have been here or here. So we also need to give its position. And the position is based on this numbering that we have done. So what number should we give it? It's on number 2 or 3. But you need to choose the smallest number. So it's going to be 2-methyl butane. Okay, so that's the name of this compound. But let's say we had another CH3 over here. So can you guess what will be the name here? So let's work it out again. First, the trick is ignore these attachments. So it's basically a butane. And we have 2 methyls in here. So that's going to be a dimethyl. And we also need to specify the positions of the methyl groups. So here you can't say, I can't choose 2 and 2 because I want to choose the smallest number. You either have to go with the top, the forward numbering, or the backward numbering. So it's going to be 2, 3. Or if you use the backward numbering, it will be 2, 3. So both the numbers are same. We have to choose the smallest number. So it's same anyways. So we are going to write it's 2, 3 dimethyl butane. Now note some important points here. Between the number and the letter, there's always a dash, as you can see here or here. So between the number and a letter. And if you have 2 numbers like here, there's a comma in there. Can you see the comma? So this one would be 2, 3 dimethyl butane. That's the IUPAC name of this compound.
Thanks for watching our video.